The first ever Pokemon game, Pokemon Red, came out in February 1996. A good game at the time, yes, but let's say you take that game and add a little few things, like the basic graphic updates you would expect for about 20 years of progress, but development-wise and story-wise, it's pretty much the same. How do you think the fans will feel when they first play that game? That's what I somewhat want to cover in this video, is why Pokemon will never have a good game again unless they change something extremely big in how they handle Pokemon games, and why the certain Pokemon game was the best Pokemon game that ever came out. And now, before you all come in the comments and say how I'm so wrong, how the games are great, and how you enjoy them. Alright, listen. I'm not saying you cannot enjoy these games. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, would you enjoy these games if it wasn't Pokemon, if it was some random new game with new creatures? Be honest, no, you wouldn't. The only actual reason you like these games, and I'm trying to be honest here, at least for me, is because it's Pokemon. The game itself is bad. I think the price for a Pokemon game is about 60 bucks for a game that, let's be honest, offers you a bad story, bad characters, pretty much no depth, no voice acting in 2023, by the way, and so many problems, especially at release with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. In my opinion, it's actually disgusting how they treat the customers, but the problem is that the customers don't care, and this comes to the first main point of my video, is why there will never be a good Pokemon game ever again. It's because they don't need to make a good game. Like, let's say hypothetically, well, most Pokemon players will be sick of these games and they will stop buying it and they will understand, okay, we have to release something good, something brand new, something that will change our franchise for the better. But they know they don't have to. They can continue push out gen, create more stupid mechanics like Dynamax or like Terra or Z moves, which I don't really like, but I guess that's more opinionated, and continuously get money from it. And I don't blame Game Freak or any Pokemon company that's like working on Pokemon. It's not their fault in a way, because they aren't there to please the fans, they're there to make money. The problem is when the fans accept that, and more than accept that, they defend those choices by the company. It's quite obvious to me, and I think to people who feel the same way as me, that as long as these people will continuously defend Game Freak's decisions and defend these games for, I'm going to be pretty harsh here, the trash bag that they are, okay? The games will keep staying the same way, same story, same bad rival friend you continuously get game by game, and overall, it's gonna be the same story that nobody cares about, same bad main villain. I just cannot play it. I play competitive Pokemon on stream on YouTube in my free time, okay, because it's actually fun. Playing normal Pokemon games, it gives me no pleasure, I'm gonna be honest here. I played a few of the old games back on my stream, like Gen 3 and Gen 1, and it's cool, right? It's cool, but it's cool because of nostalgia and seeing how it looks back then, not because of its, actual quality. I'm not saying those games are bad, but I guess at the time they're okay. But you cannot put those same games with better graphics in 2020. I think the best representation of what I'm talking about is the remix of Gen 4. I played the remix of Gen 4, and they were bad. Like, actually bad. Will I say I had no enjoyment? No, I did have some, yes. But it felt like it was the same game with a different type of graphics, which I'm pretty sure is actually true. Pretty sure there was like a leak or something. Not that a leak, just looking at the database, they just copied the database from Gen 4, just copied it, just like pasted it into the 3DS. I don't know, I'm not really too into that, but if it is true that there is some copying of the database or files, I won't be surprised. And I think most companies couldn't get out of that too easily, but they did. They did pretty easily, especially when they released Pokemon Arceus, which was a brand new thing, but extremely repetitive, if I'm gonna be honest here. I think also the problem with Pokemon Analysis was that the graphics were again horrible, as always with Pokemon games. Overall, Pokemon need a change. Pokemon games need a change. And I think the main problem here is people will say, oh well, it's aimed for kids, right? But there's a huge difference because there is one game, which we're gonna talk about in a bit, that did actually give us a good story, right? You don't have to put a game with tons of, I don't know, brutality and gore to get voice acting, to get graphics in, and to get the basic depth in a story and good characters. It's not that kids won't like it. Like, let's say they don't get it, fine, but adults who still like Pokemon will. Like, I'm 18, alright? I'm not that, old, obviously not. But I cannot enjoy Pokemon games because I know it's boring to me. I don't get any enjoyment because there's no actual enjoyment in the story. Yeah, I just look at new Pokemon in leagues and play with them on probably Pokemon Showdown, but that's it. The second part of today's video is about, as I said, in my opinion, the best Pokemon game ever made, which was made, as you all know, in 2011. It is Pokemon Black and White. The best game, in my opinion, that Game Freak has ever created. I guess you can say some other games which aren't a part of the main games, like Colosseum. I don't know if you're into that, but for me at least, from the big games, the big releases, this is the best one. And it depends on one thing actually. The story. I played Unova on my stream again because I was doing a Pokemon playthrough. And it was generally the most I've enjoyed actually being engaged in a game. Actually being engaged in a Pokemon game in a long time. Because I played Black and White too, I think about 5 to 6 years ago. And I liked it. But again, I was just kinda speedrunning for text as always because I just didn't expect a good story from Pokemon. But when I was playing this again on stream, I was just kinda shocked how good this was. And if you ask why it was so good, mainly because of one character, N. In my opinion, the best Pokemon character of all time. Which actually, I do want to make a video on him, a character analysis, so we'll see about that, but just so you know, his backstory, how he acts, his motives, are just great. They just feel like, hey, this guy isn't edgy, he doesn't kill people, he doesn't become extremely aggressive. He's just a good character in a game that is quote-unquote meant for kids, right? It's possible to make a good game when the player base you're trying to go to is, I guess, the younger audience, although a lot of people who buy these games are actually older people. And that's why I do hope they make something like Black and White again. Because I'm sure Black and White remakes will come out someday, maybe in a few years. And I don't have any good expectations from it. I expect, again, just like lazy copy-paste of everything, and it's gonna be a bit bad. But can you truly ruin a story like that? I don't think so. I think Black and White is special. I think it's supposed to show you how a Pokemon game should look like, how you can be engaged with a story. And I know some people do not like Black and White, or at least they didn't like it. But I think, without sounding too, annoying, it's a basic Pokemon fan who doesn't look for a story, he looks for the Pokemon, which again is completely fine. I don't blame you for doing that. But somebody like me, I was getting older and older, who's looking for a better game but still loves Pokemon, you need to have a middle ground where, let's say, the kids would not get his motives or why he does this and just look at him as a normal quote-unquote villain or the antagonist. That's fine. Right? They won't care anyway because they just want to catch some Pokemon. But for, I guess, more adults who still buy Pokemon games, they deserve a good story. Depth, voice acting. Again, I know Black and White didn't have that, but imagine Black and White with voice acting, with N truly showing his feelings with voice acting. It would just be amazing. But anyway, at this point, I'm just kind of rambling on about my love for Gen 5. This video was just kind of a rant on my end to explain how much I don't like where Pokemon is heading, game-wise at least. And I do hope that some of you do agree with me. I mean, if you don't, I am down to listen in the comments below what you think. I'll try to answer every comment I see, because I'm actually interested. Like, do you guys think I'm completely wrong about this? Do you think the story is good enough? Do you think the game is worth the $60 game price? I mean, if you do, then I mean, I'll be glad to hear why. But for me, and I think some other people, we just don't really see why. And yeah, guys, that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed, you could click the like button and subscribe, and also follow me on Twitch. If you didn't enjoy, I guess you could just like bar me and send me threats in game. Now, anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed my take on art. Okay, I'll see you all next time, boys. See ya.